They say you'll get your day in court. But will you? It's ironic that most of the people in Georgia's jails are awaiting trial because most of them will never get one. It is a commonly accepted fact that over 90% of criminal cases in the United States end not in trials, but in plea bargains. And according to the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, that number is as high as 97%. By that number, only 3% of arrests ever go before a jury. Remember, the right to a jury trial is a right granted by the Sixth Amendment of the United States Constitution. Why are so many Americans willing to give up their right to a trial? The reason is that sentences for crimes are just too high to justify the risk. Last season, we saw how Elder Freeman is facing an effective life sentence, despite the fact that Deputy Nelson obviously lied and Freeman is clearly innocent. So here's how it works. Police and prosecutors stack so many charges on the accused that he faces a sentence no one could possibly find reasonable or acceptable. Then they leave them to sit in jail for as long as they possibly can, and then when they're ready, they make an offer. If you plead guilty, we'll give you a lighter sentence, like time served or probation. But if you demand your right to a trial, we'll tell the judge you have no remorse for your crimes and seek the highest sentence. This is what lawyers call the trial penalty, and it scares the overwhelming majority of defendants into giving up their rights and making a plea. According to the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, this kind of coercive plea bargaining was deemed unconstitutional by the U.S. Supreme Court into the 1960s. But then, they suddenly changed their mind. In 1970, the court ruled in Brady v. the United States that a defendant who had pled guilty in order to avoid the possibility of the death penalty had done so voluntarily. This opened the floodgates to allow prosecutors to use heavy sentences as leverage to get guilty pleas. So what would you do? If you were accused of a crime you didn't commit, would you roll the dice, risking life in prison on a bet that the jury will get it right? Or would you falsely admit your guilt, take probation, and go home? Over 90% of people wouldn't take the gamble. And this helps explain why so many Georgians are on probation. Turns out the overwhelming majority of people who are arrested and convicted never get their day in court. But this is a serious problem, because it means that we have no idea whether or not convicts are guilty. The evidence never sees the light of day, and the jury never looks at the case. So you've been told that you'll get your day in court. But will you? The statistics say you won't. Odds are good that if the blue lights come on, you'll be presumed guilty and be made to pay the penalty without ever receiving a trial. I'm Mr. Pipsqueak signing off, and remember, you should never talk to police without your parents and a lawyer present.